Really, scholarship rejection, rejection is what everyone would have to deal with in our facet of life. And it has nothing to do with scholarship alone. It's not just about scholarship. You would have to deal with rejection in different phases, maybe job application, maybe career-wise. Even when you start your PhD, you deal with paper rejection as well. It's not all the time that your paper probably get published. Okay, so that's how it goes through the peer review. Even in terms of your personal life, some people get rejection probably from a lady saying no to their proposal. Okay, so I once had a story of a man of God who said that he really did thank God that those ladies that he proposed to earlier said no, that if they not, he wouldn't have become all he has become, even in ministry and whatever it is that he has become. Because people had said no to him, and the person he married now, he believed that's just the best of God for him. And that's the same thing with us. We definitely have to deal with rejection at different times. And of course, I really did just a few days ago, I still got a very interesting rejection. So I've applied for an opportunity for a TED Talk. And of course, I received a rejection as well, saying, "Thank you so much for applying to the TED Idea Search Africa 2022. We have completed our full review of 667 applications, and after much thought and careful deliberation, we have unfortunately decided not to move you into the final round. We selected only 10 finalists, under 2% from the pool of applicants." You can see that? That's how scholarship rejection comes in. Because I started applying for scholarships in 2018 and 2017 now. Okay, so maybe 2017, 2018. So my first rejection was from Oulu University, that's in Finland. And of course, many other applications afterwards. I was just trying my hands on things then. I wasn't really so serious, or I wasn't really so particular about what I was doing. So, but one thing was that, of course, I was getting better along the way. So in 2018 as well, I got rejections. I didn't apply for Commonwealth then. And of course, I wanted to read one of the rejection I got from Commonwealth. This was in 2019. So thank you for your application for a Commonwealth Share Scholarship in 2019. I'm writing to let you know that your applications are now being considered. And I'm sorry to say that we are unable to offer you a scholarship for this course. A high number of applications were received, and only a small proportion of the candidates could be offered places. That's the way it comes. Most times when a mail starts with "thank you," you have to watch out. That's probably a love letter. So many people are getting it at different stage of their lives, but rejection in its own is not meant to stop us. Okay, but the most important thing is, what would you do about that? The first thing to do when you get a rejection is to re-strategize, go back to the drawing table. Okay, try to check what are the things that you need to do again. What are the things that you need to reconsider? For example, I understand that 2018 when I was applying, I didn't have so many volunteering opportunity to be of help. So some of the essays I was writing, those were the missing pieces in it. I mean, I was just trying to look for things to write. But there are times that you've done things enough that you're not trying to form it. Those are things that you've really done, not you trying to look for it. They come out of some of your involvement and minimum things like that. So, and there are several things, of course, that make a successful application depending on what you're applying for. Commonwealth basically has a lot also to do. It kind of also focuses on the strength of your CDPA. Okay, so aside that, so they would also consider other things, publications, volunteering roles, and other things like that. Maybe Shirley would deal more with how well have you been able, your leadership capacity, how well have you translated it into helping others, into changing the lives of others. Okay, so let me just focus on what I'm trying to talk about. So how to translate your rejection into being a blessing to you. Okay, so the first thing I did when I started getting all this rejection, I was staying with my brother then, your brother and a friend. Okay, so I think we kind of helped each other in many ways. You know, one of the things we were doing was that he was pretty much very good when it comes to essay writing and things like that. So reviewing each other's works. I remember then there was a time we started learning vocabularies. So there are some words that I still use till today. There were words I picked from some of our conversation and some of the words we were just trying to pick up and I'm trying to use it in a sentence and this. So those periods you need support system. Periods when you get rejections, there are not times when you want to stay alone. So it was just two of us staying together then. So you need that support system at the time when rejection letters start rolling in. It's not the best when you're alone and you keep receiving rejection. It's going to affect your self-esteem. Okay, so one thing we do to each other then is to we kind of give ourselves some words to boost our morale and things like that. Even when you receive rejection, you still tell the person, hey, you don't know anything. There's so much more that God has for you, and of course we encourage ourselves in the Lord and things like that. So that's the first thing that I want to talk about. Re-strategize and think about what are the things that are missing in the application. If you do not have publication, collaborate with people to publish a paper. If you've not attended conferences, international conferences, local conferences, there are opportunities to attend those conferences even for free. So just be deliberate about them, apply for them. If you've not been able to volunteer in places, start now, start volunteering. Okay, so if you need to speak to people to work in their lab back home in Nigeria, there, speak to them. People are more than willing to engage you so as to help you grow as well. Then if you need to talk to people that would help you review your essay, so I noticed that there are people also that probably they do not want people to steal their ideas. I don't know, that's not really the best because you need people also to kind of read through your essay. Most times they might not correct everything in it, but they tend to give you basic ideas or things I feel should be here, things I feel should change. I think most times that's what I do to people, so I might not really get to change everything. I just tell you, okay, this is what I feel should be here, why not work on this, why not check this out, and things like that. So I just tell them, okay, this how the structure should be, I think it should flow this way now. So I might not really do all the in-depth correction. Okay, so of course you should get Grammarly as well, so as to correct your grammars, because you do not want to make some common mistakes that, those professors that will review your essays and other things, they've been on the road for years, some of them 30 years plus of reviewing essays. So I wonder why some people just spend 2-3 days to write an essay for people that have been on the road for 30 years. So you don't want to do that. So spend time. Whatever is worth doing, I thought it's worth doing well. So when it happens like that, re-strategize, start getting those opportunities in place. If you want to apply again for a scholarship that you've applied for and you got rejection, start writing the essay from now, not later. Start writing it now, so that you start getting many things together. Okay, do I need to do this? Who do I need to write about volunteering? Who do I need to write about publishing? Who do I need to write about other things like that? So take up leadership roles. Okay, you don't need to chicken out of things. Maybe you are still an undergraduate now. People in your project group, they just choose not to be responsible. You take that responsibility and take it upon yourself to complete that project. By the time you are right here, I said that will be a component part of your essay, that there was a time where that one of your qualities is that you take responsibility. That there was a time when people kind of shaking out of responsibility and you chose to work on the project, and this is what you got out of the project. So most times people talk about STAR to use that approach for your essay. That is, what's the situation, what was the task involved, and what was the result. That's and so like that. So you talk about what's the situation, what was the task, and what was the result that you got out of it. So just the most important thing is that when you are getting rejections, think about it. What are you doing wrong? If you are unable to identify yourself, speak to people. People will be able to help you out. People will be able to tell you, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what I feel you should do better. Okay? So don't just think, okay, I think I'm doing it well, and you're not changing anything. Recycling the same mistake over and over again will make you keep getting rejections, and that would affect your self-esteem a lot. Okay? So make sure you work on that. I actually wanted to read, there's another dimension that is not rejection, but reserve list. I was placed on reserve list for one of the scholarships on Erasmus then. And interestingly, they didn't even send me any message. I thought maybe you were shortlisted or you were rejected or whatever. They didn't send me, so I had to mail them. They are like, oh dear Loyalty, our sincerest apologies to contact you so late. Currently, you've been reserve listed for social scholarship. This means if a student that is currently selected refuses a scholarship, you might be selected eventually for a scholarship. This is, however, purely dependent on whether someone from the main list declines. But of course, no one declined that particular year. So, and that's another dimension. You could be placed on risk. There are people that have been placed on reserve. They were lucky enough to get themselves on the main list. Maybe somebody got several scholarships. So if you were placed on reserve, that means there's something still good about your application. It just means that there's something you need to upgrade. That means you are still good enough. You are still very much good. That you got rejection doesn't mean that you got rejected. It doesn't mean you are not good enough as well. Okay, there are just things you need to upgrade. There are things you need to work on. Okay, so eventually I got a good news as well. And you know, one of the things you will see with most of this scholarship award is, oh, we are happy to inform you that you've been awarded the scholarship. So that's the way. By the time you get that, you are like, what? I was so excited the day I got that news. It changed everything for me and all like that. It changed everything in terms of, like, I was really so happy. And of course, I was talking about, I was staying with my friend. So my friend then, in 2019, didn't get a scholarship. And of course, he applied for a series of scholarships as well, Erasmus, Commonwealth and all. So I had to travel out. He was still back at home. And one of the things that I was talking about the other time is that you need a support system. So we were still kind of talking to each other, trying to encourage each other. This is what I feel you should, this is what I feel you should do, and things like that. And one of the things that happened was that 1 year that I was away was probably one of the like, it was a time for him to have developed himself emotionally, professional-wise, career-wise, and other things like that. So he has kind of developed himself so much that by the time he applied that particular year, we're still talking maybe some month earlier, and he was like, oh, this, that, and I was still talking that, no, I know that there's a great plan that, you know, the right talk, like, even greater than your wildest imagination and things like that. You know, just like, that's the way you've been saying. We're still saying that. But just months after that, and he just got 3 scholarships, 3 Commonwealth scholarships just at once. And not only that, of course, he got pitied eventually later on as well. And so that's the way it is after all those years of rejection. So one thing about it is a single yes will put an end to all the cries, all the dejection, and all the feeling of low self-esteem that am I really qualified now and all. Just a single yes, just a single congratulations will an award could change everything for you. Just make sure, number one, have a support system. Number two, re-strategize. Number three, take up opportunities and upgrade your application. Number four, make sure you are not recycling the same error over and over again. Number five, if you know that you couldn't just detect what is wrong, reach out to people and talk over it. And I believe this has helped you. Rejection is actually a blessing in disguise. So it should make you better. It should get you brighter, and it should sample you or fine-tune you so that you'll be fit for whatever the graduate school will be throwing at you. Thank you very much. Alright, bye. See you some other time.